Can anybody hear me? Oh, they're yelling. Wow, everybody can hear me. I'm hearing the. Maybe I should go to. I'm hearing myself playing back. Let me see. All right, so that's better. How's everybody doing today? So let me see if I can. Oh, cool. I can put this in here. Yep. Nice. So I set this up pretty good. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, can that's my daughter. You can hear in the background. Yep. She's past due for her nap, so she's tripping. My wife's got her hands full out there. It took me a while to figure out how to do this the StreamYard. But we're doing an interesting St. Patrick's Day broadcast real quick. Hold on. Let me. So we'll do a little clearing here with the Tibetan bowl. Here we go. A little bit of a clearing for those dark energies out there. Yep. Energies are a little rough today. Yeah, we're clearing those energies out there. Feel the clear. I actually just did a 15-minute short video with Roger Spur from Mud Fossil, which I'll be posting later. We did it about Oumuamua comet. So today, as people are joining, we're going to be discussing St. Patrick's Day in a very interesting way, because most people don't really know the reality of St. Patrick, right? And a lot of the interesting stories that we have that come along with St. Patrick. And for those that don't know, is that he was brought to Ireland. Did I freeze? What happened here? Whoa. I froze for a second. There was a green screen conflict. Hold on, let me fix it. I don't know why it did that. There's some sort of conflict. Let me see if I can fix it. That was very weird. So we are back. We're back here. Hopefully. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the static, but there's like interference. Let me see if I could fix this. There we go. There we go. We got some interference here. Yeah, I got the green screen going. There was some malfunction. So let's get started here. We got like at least 15 people in there. Thank you, Jeremy. Well, we can actually show some of your. I'll show some of your guys' comments. Thank you, everybody. So, for those that don't know, St. Patrick was actually brought to Ireland as a slave. When the Romans conquered Great Britain, they had started a whole new colony there. And, of course, Hadrian's Wall near Gloucester is an example. And they had certain setups where they would live at certain parts of the year, right? So the winter quarters were in Ireland at that time, where they called Hibernia. It's actually where we get the term hibernate from, right? To spend the winter in this certain area, right? And it comes from the Latin term, and it means to spend the winter, hibernate, right? We'll take it as a yes. What? I didn't know what you meant, Matteo. But the Romans, they never conquered Ireland or set up any colonies there, but they were kings, chieftains who ruled Ireland, Druid priests. They knew about resurrection, sacrifice, and powerful technologies. And Ireland, this Ireland was an island, a complete island of pagan warriors and kings with Nephilim knowledge when Patrick arrived, right? And he arrived there. He was taken into slavery, and this was a real guy, not a mythological figure, right? He was a real figure. They don't know exactly when he was born, but it was sometime between 385 maybe and 389, right? Those years. And most likely the place of his birth is Kilpatrick, right? The very name Kilpatrick, which is near Dunbarton in Scotland. So Patrick discussed that he was a British citizen of the Roman Empire. The names of his parents usually are given as Calpurnius and Conchessa, and his family may have even worked for the Roman colony in Great Britain, right? And we don't know about his early life, his early childhood, but we have records of him being nearly 16 years old when he was carried off by these raiders, right, and taken into Ireland as a slave. Now his head was shaved, and he was clothed in most likely sheepskin tunics and sandals, and he was taken over in slavery, right? And in his captivity is when he learned not only Druid, the priesthood, but also they say this is when he would turn to God, and he had some connection to the sheep. And his captivity lasted about 6 years, and he learned the native language well, and he also got to know all the Druid priesthood. And he was basically destined, I think, to learn this. And people don't even realize some of the things that we're going to talk about with St. Patrick is pretty intense. Like when he first began his preaching, right? He took on pagan priests. And there's a legend that tells us that there's the chief of these priests who was able to raise himself and levitate himself up in the air by this clarity, this mental clarity force, right? And there was a standoff between him and these pagan priests that they talk about. And when Patrick prayed, he was able to lift this priest in the air and crush the guy back down to the ground and kill him, right? He murdered this priest in a standoff, which is very interesting, right? Very, very interesting. Now, this guy, what kind of powerful forces do you need? And some of the Vatican imagery and artists that have wrote about it, they even have little pictures of that moment where he was able to throw the priest to the ground. If you guys can see this right here, where that priest was thrown to the ground and his bones were broken in a standoff, right? They portray this. But St. Patrick, he had, I mean, he had Druid knowledge that could resurrect the dead. And there was many miracles that were attributed to him. And his life is pretty intense. When you start to go through it, it's almost like, how is this even possible, right? And I'm talking about he had people dug up from the dirt, from the ground, and he brought people back to life after they had already been dead and buried. Now, what kind of abilities does and knowledge this man have, where now he's looked at as of course a Catholic saint, right? The Apostle of Ireland. Well, there's thousands of miracles that are attributed to St. Patrick, just like St. Vincent Ferrer. I mean, they say 40,000 miracles attributed to St. Vincent Ferrer, the angel of the judgment, and there were as many as 39 wonders of St. Patrick. 33 are mentioned in one specific report from the church that we have, and you can look into certain books like The Life and Acts of St. Patrick, which I have here, which is translated from the original Latin of Jocelyn, a Cistercian monk of Furness of the 12th century, by Edmund Swift, and in Dublin, 1809, a writer that I mean, there's all these different things in accounts. I mean, we can literally go through hours and hours of accounts talking about the miracles of St. Patrick. And I really thought it would be very interesting for some of you guys and gals out there to listen to this, because St. Patrick was a missionary. He was a bishop, and he converted a whole land from paganism to the church. I mean, he overturned the religion of the Druids using some of their own knowledge against them, right? He had the temple priesthood knowledge and some of the most secret of their ancient knowledge, like resurrecting the dead. And he was able to basically overturn and convert a whole island through his miracles, right? And usually when miracles are attributed to a saint, it's because there was conversions, right? And there definitely was conversions. They're saying that he overturned basically the religion of the Druids, right? And he consecrated 350 bishops. He erected over 690 churches and ordained at least 5,000 priests. And in less than 30 years, the greater part of Ireland became Catholic. And St. Patrick, this was during Protestant revolts in Ireland. And even today, people speak of the faith of the Irish, right? And it's very interesting because St. Patrick has basically had all these signs and wonders, and he had letters, his confessions, And he wrote a lot of letters that we have here, a lot of confessions here that we have. And a lot of these confessions talk about how he wrote such things in his writings that he was not worthy, that people should not bestow on him such grace. And, he murdered people through his knowledge. And he was resurrecting people from the dead just to convert people to the Catholic faith, just to have conversions, right? Just to have power. So this needs to be looked at in a different way, as far as I'm concerned, right? And he was at one time looked at as sinister, for those that don't realize, and basically there's at least 33 resurrection miracles that are attributed to St. Patrick. So we're going to talk about some of these, actually. Let's get into this, because it's only we have to talk at least about several of these accounts. I think it would be only fair to talk at least about a few of these. And there's one story how St. Patrick one day came to a place called Fierta, right? It's spelled Fearta. And on the side of the hill, there were two women that were buried, that had died and that had been buried. St. Patrick, well, he wasn't St. Patrick at the time. He was just Patrick. He had ordered the earth to be removed, that in the name of Christ, that he raised these women up from the dead after being buried. And he raised them up, and the two actually, and he did this in the name of Christ. He called them forth, right? Similar to the way Christ called Lazarus. And after they were raised up from the dead, they say that the two actually proclaimed that their idols were vain and that Christ was the true God. So usually when these people are raised from the dead, they have to they're raised for a certain purpose, and that's to prove that the one that's raising them from the dead's God is more powerful than their God, right? This is all about a holy war. This is all about a spiritual war and converting souls, harvesting souls, right? So he's literally bringing these souls back from the dead, right? Because he's not just resurrecting zombies, so to say, walking corpses. These people are getting their souls brought back to them, and actually, denouncing their idols, their pagan idols, and claiming that St. Patrick's God, Jesus Christ, is the God, the most powerful God, is the God, the true God, right? And along with these two women, many bystanders were baptized after this. And there's the ancient writer that reports this had observed, and he said that Patrick not only revived these two from a double death, but it was both temporal and eternal death. And also by this miracle, he gave spiritual resurrection to many other souls, right? Now, this is very interesting because there was a specific purpose, a cosmic intelligence maybe even guiding this, right? And they also say when Patrick came to Dublina, he had prophesied how great the small village would someday prove to be. And they say that he basically caused a sacred fountain to spring up at this spot. And it so happens that in that region nearby, the young son of the king lay dead in his chamber. Just so happened to be when St. Patrick arrives in Dublina, that also the king of that town, son, had just passed away, and he was lying dead in the chamber. You can't see my face? I just fixed the camera. Is that better? So he was lying dead in the chamber, basically. So they say that the sorrow over this young man's death was compounded when it was learned also that this young man, the king's son that was dead, also his sister, who had gone to bathe in the neighborhood river, had also drowned in midstream. So not only did when St. Patrick arrives in Dublina, did the king's son die, but also the king's daughter died within that same time period. Now, did the Druid magic of St. Patrick also cause this to happen? Just so he can resurrect them from the dead? Because what's the odds of, just as St. Patrick's rolling into town, that the king's son and daughter meet a tragic end, and he just so happens to be able to show up there to bring these two back to life, right? They say that her body, the daughter's body, was found resting on the riverbed and was laid out beside. When they found her dead, they went and grabbed her body and laid her beside her dead brother, right? And the tombs were prepared for both of them according to the pagan customs of the area. Like, this was a pagan town, right? So these were pagan children. Pagan king was their father, and St. Patrick rolled into town to make a miracle to stop the paganism and make them convert. And of course, St. Patrick rolls into town, and this is a very sorrowful time of the town. I mean, the king's children have just died, and the rumors spread that Patrick of, they called it, at the time they called him Patrick of Ardmachia or Armagh, who is, it's the name of basically the rumor spread that he was there. So and there had already been rumors that he had raised many from the dead from his powerful God, right? So the king, Alphemus, he basically promised that if St. Patrick was to resurrect his children, that of course he would baptize to the new faith, and if his children were restored to life, of course he would baptize to the faith, and most likely that he's ruler of, and the physical resurrection of the princess and the prince, and the spiritual resurrection of the whole area from what they saw as darkness of the occult and paganism and the idolatry that was going on, and this is basically what transpired. I mean, he basically raised the royal brother and sister back from the dead. Churches were built at this spot. People were converted, and the king, of course, was converted. And this is very interesting information. I mean, Patrick became the archbishop, or the first bishop of Ardmachia, right? And it's said that he revived Princess Dublina, and this is how the great city of Dublin got its name, right? And this is only a few this is only a few of the resurrection miracles. I mean, people were dead and buried, and he brought them back from the dead. I mean, they even talk about sometime after this how King Echu was basically, lying dead on his deathbed, and he sent the messenger to. I think I got a booger too. I gotta get this. Hold on. Let me get a tissue. I could see it just hanging out there. I got it. I think we good now, right? Oh, there it is. Man, this camera can see right up there. So yeah, I mean, they talk about King Echiu or Echu, who had. Oh, see, that's not a booger. It's like I think it's the way the camera looks. It's the glare. I thought that was a booger in the corner. So it's basically another story where they sent for St. Patrick and he's raising people from the dead. I mean, there's 33 resurrection miracles that we can go through, literally, that most of them. Let me see what you guys are writing. Sorry for what? There's stories of all sorts of, like St. Patrick revived the king that I'm talking about, of course, and he raised horses from the dead that have died. I mean, there's stories that each of the miracles, it's about converts. It's about conversions. It's about baptizing people to the faith and steering humanity on a certain course, right? And this is what seems like there even talks about how he battled evil men. That there was an evil man called Makaldus, and him and his companions who had placed on their heads these certain diabolical signs called debirth. And this basically is a diabolical symbol or sigil that signifies Satan, right? And they plotted to mock St. Patrick, and they covered one of the men in the group, this guy Garbanus, with a cloak as if he were dead, right? And Garbanus, although he's perfectly healthy, was placed on a couch as if laid out in burial preparation, right? Like they were going to to do their pagan rites. And the men sent for Patrick, right? Asking him to raise their covered Garbanus from the dead, even though the guy's sitting there healthy, posing to be dead. So they sent for Patrick to resurrect this guy from the dead, although the guy's just faking to be dead. And this was actually, they say, a fatal mistake of these men, right? And St. Patrick immediately knew of their deceit. And disregarding what they wanted, he went on his way praying for the soul of them, right? And then uncovering their friend, they found, after he left, they found that he was actually dead now. You know, that he, you know, you know, he basically made the guy die, you know, and also they went and pleaded with St. Patrick, baptize us, pardon us, and we're sorry. And then St. Patrick comes back and resurrects this guy back from the dead, that he was able to stop the guy's heart through prayer, basically, through vibrational energy that was coming out of him, some sort of frequency, harmonic frequency. Oh, thank you so much, Ken. Shout out to Ken Saad. Much love. We should have a drink every time someone does a donation. You know, and you know, there's stories about this guy Malkadus that he raised from the dead, this evil man Malkadus, that later on, this guy associated with them, he actually became a bishop, right? And like I said, there's stories of St. Patrick that he once raised to life a dead horse, right? And it was basically a horse that belonged to a charioteer named Darius. And he also restored to the charioteer the health he had lost after he accused Patrick of killing the horse, right? So that's very interesting in itself. I mean, think about that. Think about that. So he would be able to miraculously heal people through his prayer, through his Druid priesthood, basically. So this was a guy who ended up becoming a Catholic priest who was using Druid magic to make miracles for the church, right? The church basically converted a whole island, all of Ireland, due to the miracles of this man. But meanwhile, he was using Druid magic for these miracles. And not only that, they converted this island of Druids to Catholicism, using the Druids' own magic against them. Now that's very, very ironic and very intense, and definitely causes, in my opinion, dark energy to come through on a huge scale, right? And in my opinion, and it seems to line up with even Vedic cosmology, that we literally have at least 9 alternate realities, alternate Earths, attached to us. That we have our world, our Earth that we're currently in, and 8 other Earths. Some of them of a utopian world, and others of a completely diabolical nature, right? And there is Stargate or particle accelerator technologies that are opening doorways to these other dimensions, opening doorways and letting negative energy come through to stop the harmonic ascension of our planet. And all of these men that were raising people from the dead with lost technologies right now, that we currently, humanity currently is the average person will never activate this sort of energy within them, right? I do believe these stories some of these stories are true. Not all of them. I don't think every resurrection tale is true. But when somebody's dead and buried, It's either a well thought out plan, right? It's either the church paid off this people to do some sort of demonstration, and it was some mass trickery, or there was some sort of Druid magic happening here. And I do feel that St. Patrick had some sort of Druid ancient teachings. And in my opinion, whether they were really resurrected from the dead or not, it was a harvest of souls. You know, I mean, when someone believes or witnesses something like that, someone getting resurrected from the dead, right? I mean, you and all your ancestors, your future ancestors, are pretty much getting converted to the faith. I mean, unshakable devotion after witnessing something like that, right? Whoever this man's God is has to be the ultimate power, right? Your God is way bigger than my God. If you're resurrecting people from the dead in the name of Jesus, right? So this is who we're talking about when we're talking about St. Patrick, everybody. I mean, at least 33 resurrection miracles. And he had a powerful staff that, you know, and his staff had the spiral, you know, at the end of it. And who knows what his staff was made out of? I mean, we're only speculating. But of course, people have seen some of the the art and the depictions of the staff of St. Patrick. Let's see if I could find a picture here. Oh, shout out to Lydia. Lydia with a $20 donation. Much love, Lydia. Everybody drink up. I'll cheers to that. What's up, Melinda, in the chat room? Let's give some people some shout outs here. We got Lydia, Jay Ether, Jeremy, Cindy, Melinda, Tammy, La Love a Girl. Oh, did she give 333 too? Shout out to I Love a Girl. La Love a Girl. Carla Hernandez, Ken Sod, Kevin Basarab, Sanitarium Radio. Shut the F up, Darcy. Michael 7777, Mattio, Kelly Moore, Hero, Linda, Griziak, and whoever else is out there. What's probably copper? This is definitely copper. Also, I got some new EMF phone tabs for those that haven't seen those yet. I have packages of them up on my website where you get 2 phone tabs and a rainbow moonstone piece in the package. And they go, I can show you guys how even to do it right here. So right now on the website, I have the Flower of Life ones. This is also the Tree of Life. Let me see if I can take this off for a second. It's the Tree of Life copper tab, and on the back, you just peel it off, and this sticks right to the back of your smartphone. And anybody who donates today, if they want to contact me with their address, I will send them a little charm in the mail or some sort of special prize. I mean, it could be made out of a few things, the staff I just mentioned. Like you said, it could be copper. It could also be something like rue, a staff of rue, or a staff made out of like hazelnut, or, you know, even like in the Bible, the rod of Aaron, right? Some special tree like oak, right? Even some staffs were made out of walnut trees, I know, right? So it's quite possible that there was staffs made of copper. I mean, there was the known Nakash HaNekoset, the copper serpent of Moses, where basically Moses spoke to God, and God told him to entwine a copper serpent around a metal rod. And this is exactly what we do when we twist copper. I mean, it looks like a serpent. Like when you twist a piece of copper, it looks like a serpent. Well, when you twist it around, it looks just like a serpent. It looks like a twisted cobra, right? So I do feel they were using some advanced copper technology back in the day, and we just don't even realize it anymore. You know, but in Vedic cosmology, they have very similar tales as other religions, you know, and it seems that, yeah, it is probably a mix of ingredients for sure. But let me see if I have a picture of St. Patrick's staff, if you guys can see. I think I do have a picture of it somewhere. Oh, so this is one picture of it. You guys can see the staff over here, spiral staff, St. Patrick. A kited TV. Masaki's in the house. Good Walker's in the house. Sup, Masaki? And we also have, let's see, another picture of St. Patrick and his staff. This is a well-known picture here. I don't know if it's showing up good with the green screen. But yeah, so for those that just joining us, we went through at least 2 or 3 resurrection miracles, you know, that are attributed to St. Patrick. I don't know if you guys are seeing static on the green screen, but I'm getting a little bit of static back now. Let's see if I can fix this. I think that's better. Do I think the astrology could possibly be a control mechanism by which to manipulate the Earth inhabitants? I mean, I do feel that we are living in a data. Our realm is infected with a data virus, so it is quite possible that astrology is part of that data virus, right? I mean, people make their whole lives, some of them controlled by their astrological chart, right? Some people won't even make decisions or do anything during when what's it called? When, oh my God, it's the word is leaving my mind now. What's it called when we're in like a transition, when it's like help me out here, when we're in retrograde. There we go. Thank you, Lydia. Right, some people won't even make decisions during retrograde. All right. Some people are all about that, you know, and like Misaki saying there in the chat room, it's part of the Saturn moon matrix, right? And it's quite possible. That's a very good question, Lydia. You know, that I do feel, and it's interesting that everything is biology, right? That even I was talking about this with Roger, right? And when you go down to the deepest cosmology, it seems that even the most simplest things might possibly be the truth, right? Why do you think that they even call everything named after living creatures, right? Right? We have uh, every astrological sign is pretty much after a creature, right? You even have the Chinese years, the year of the rat, the year of the dog, all living creatures. All right. Even the Native Americans talk about how North America is basically like a fossilized tortoise sitting on the waters, right? It's all talked about as being biological. All right. Even comets are possibly body parts of giant angels through angelic wars that are now used to seed worlds, right? When certain things explode and transform, like when a smaller sun can transform into a white dwarf, that transformation, that energetic transformation, can be harnessed telepathically and sent out through these biological pieces. Like you see Oumuamua in the back. This possibly is a finger, right? A finger of a massive angelic creature, right? Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda. And if you guys look at Indian mythology, right? We talk about certain Nagas like Ilapatra, who thousands of miles long almost, right? 1,000 miles long, right? That his tail went from one end of India to the other. And I just did a show with Roger a little while ago. We did about it was about 20 minutes or something like that. I will post it tonight. We did a Zoom chat, and we were discussing Oumuamua and how it quite possibly might be a finger. And he broke it down. You know, he had a JPL picture from the Jet Propulsion Laboratories, where basically he was showing certain parts where there's grip skin and certain parts on here where there's little tendons and balls in there and all this stuff. So I'm not exactly saying that I believe that he's 100% accurate in everything that he says, that he's the only one that knows what he's talking about out there. But a lot of what he says has some real physics and chemistry behind it. And before people he's very offended. And I'm going to be doing shows tomorrow with Roger. We're going to be doing a weekly thing. And he's very offended by this guy, Scott Walter, who was actually a friend with, I think, Rex Bear as well. I should try to patch it up. I should have Rex try to patch it up, because apparently Scott Walter went on the History Channel and disproved not disproved, but claimed that some of what Roger was talking. He didn't use Roger's name, but a certain head that Roger has claimed that was once a real living biological head at one time, a real breathing creature at one time, but is now a mud fossil. This guy said, no, it's just sandwood or whatever it was. And yeah, it might be sandwood now, but before the chemical process made it into that, it was once a biological creature. And in 20 seconds, the guy just totally blew all Roger's research on this out the water and said, no, it's just this. So Roger wants to sue History Channel over it. So he's really offended, right? And I think it will be really good for us to do it this way. What we're going to do is Roger's going to post his videos in the morning on his channel, and then we're going to post a Zoom link in the description or on a post on YouTube for later on in the day, where we take questions and answers from all of you. We take questions so we can do some answers from all of you in the Zoom chat, in the live Zoom chat, about the videos that he posted earlier that day. So we're going to post videos in the morning, and then later on in the day, we're going to do a live Zoom chat dissecting what the videos were about. You know, and I think it's going to be very interesting to go through that. You know, serpent mounds, all of that. Yeah, I mean, there's endless stuff to go through. You know, just with the serpents. I mean, I have over the years, dug up so much information about tales of serpents, from flying serpents to dragons, bearded dragons, all of this, right? And, you know, from Herodotus to Josephus to Pliny to all of these people, they've talked about it, right? And some of them having these noxious breath that can kill anything that inhales this noxious wind that can come out of these naga. I mean, of course, there's reticulated pythons and anacondas that get monstrous. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw in 2017 or 18, there was reticulated pythons that swallowed a woman whole, even a 25-year-old man, right? With their clothes intact and all. They cut open the body of the snake, and they found an Asian person in there. You know, some of the Asian women too are very short, very little people. And the woman went to go check out her cornfields or something. She never returned. They found her dead inside the body. I mean, there was some crazy guy too that a couple of years back, they made this suit where he actually was digested by an anaconda, where he can survive in the belly of this thing inside this suit. So that's really crazy. But of course, there's boas that are huge, all sorts of giant serpents that could be seen as monsters. But the anaconda, of course, is probably the biggest one on our planet. But you have reticulated pythons that get pretty big too, really big, actually. You know, and yeah, Scott is a Mason. You're saying, yeah, I don't know anything about the guy, but oh, thank you, Jahar Ali. Much love. Yeah, anybody can send anything through PayPal as well. Yeah, so many cultures have nagas and different things like that. And the Year of the Dragon. Yeah, the Serpent Mound in Ohio, of course, is well known. And of course, many cultures, they worship the serpent as divine. And, you know, Christian, of course, culture looks at it like it's the evil. So there's certain cultures where it's looked at as evil, and there's certain cultures where one word means divine, and in another word in the other culture it means evil, like deva. In deva, that word in some cultures it means a goddess. In other cultures it means a demon. Right? So everything is yeah, no, I'm not. Well, yeah, that's still, Melinda, that's still big for a Burmese python. But I mean, I'm talking about reticulated pythons. They could get like 30 feet, 25 to 30 feet, you know? And of course, Snoopy, yeah, the Hopis have snake priests and all of that as well. and they have large pythons in South and Western China, and there's all sorts of Chinese myths of dragons and all of this. And Malaysia, of course, in Malaysia and all these places, they still have these giant snakes, and even in Arabia, places like I think it was in Arabia that they talked about the flying serpents would come from. And I have a whole catalog right in front of me that of years of notes and that I have here that I can go through about serpents. Especially I've been digging them up just so I could go through it with Roger, because Roger's doing the physical part of some of the things that he's found on the map and all of this. And I have a lot of mythology and history that seems to back up some of the things that he's finding, right? And of course, like I said, Elapatra was one of them. And Elapatra was said to be like possibly thousands of miles long and multiple heads, right? And of course, there's all stories of giant sea creatures taking down boats and giant squids and giant octopuses. But we're totally going off from St. Patrick. We went into a whole different way tonight. But the St. Patrick part, I guess we're just going on with the conversation. But for sure, everybody, have a safe St. Patrick's Day. This is really great. Now that I know we can do this with the green screen right here, I got a better setup now. This is pretty cool. Yeah, of course, Medusa. It goes on and on. You guys check out my website too. There was also the Greek, what was his name? Cecrops in Greek, where he had the bottom of a serpent and the upper torso of a man. Thank you, Melinda. And what else did I want to discuss real quick too? Oh, we were talking about the Indian cosmology as well, and the nine Earths. That's a whole. Maybe we'll do another show later on with that tonight. But let me see what else we got here that we could talk about real quick with the dragon. Ethiopia. Of course, there's many stories in India about battles between elephants and dragons, right? And elephants being fear of the dragon, right? And this is Oumuamua, yes, behind me. And I do feel it might be a fingertip. It might be a finger. It actually might be a giant finger that's 500 million years old. Now, recently, I don't know if it was NASA that came out with it, but now they were trying to say that this might be 100% nitrogen. That it's almost like a piece of a planet like Pluto, but a planet from another galaxy. A Pluto-like planet from another galaxy made of nitrogen, right? Now, I don't think so. I think it is biology, right? And of course, people are just guessing out there. Scientists are just guessing out there, right? These are all just theories. And it is interstellar traveler. I think it was used. It's biology that was telepathically how do you want to say it? Like an ascension, a transformation. And that transformation, that harmonic ascension from a smaller sun to a white dwarf, something like that. That very energy, the knowledge, the encoding of that transformation can be telepathically harnessed and programmed within the stone, within the very piece of biology that's being sent through the cosmos. And I do feel that this is like some sort of spaceship, but it was sent for a specific reason. And it's not just random things floating through the cosmos. They are technology of God. They are divine technology. And when something from another planet, from another galaxy, if there was an ascension process in another galaxy, and say a smaller sun collapsed into a white dwarf, which is a transformation. It's a transformation with powerful energy within that transformation. And the very knowledge of that transformation is harnessed and encoded and then sent to seed worlds, other worlds, to help with their ascension or prevent their ascension, for whatever specific reason. And that's what I feel these interstellar travelers are. They're about seeding other worlds. That's why when our superpowers of the world find out about certain things like Oumuamua, they want to rendezvous with it. They want to be able to dock on it and land on it and extract the waters of life and death that it carries. And a lot of what these saints, like St. Patrick, I feel were tapping into was the cosmology of everything. This is why in ancient Vedic that the mind is associated with the heavens, right? Because they're connected. The heavens, the stars is connected to the mind. And we can bring interstellar objects telepathically. And this is done by higher sixth dimension beings and higher. These higher beings have the telepathic abilities. They exist in another time zone. And I don't mean another time zone on our earth. They exist in another timeline, another reality than this. Well, Hero, that question that you're saying, didn't St. Patrick cast out snakes or serpents from Ireland or Scotland or something? Well, I do feel that story that they're talking about, the snakes or serpents that he quote unquote casted out from Ireland, was actually the Druids, right? Their pagan or snake knowledge, right? Snake serpent knowledge was also looked at as, divine knowledge to the Druids, right? But he chased that knowledge out of Ireland and brought the Catholic, right? He converted the whole island, basically, almost 90% of it, from paganism to Catholicism. So the serpents or snakes that he literally chased out of Ireland was the pagans, right? The Druids. So I hope that can sum it up a little bit, that could clear it up a little bit with you, a little bit better. Killian McGee, the reptilian Irishman. Thank you so much, Killian McGee. Shout out to Killian. I hope everybody got their stimulus today. Some people did, some people didn't. Stimulated. But I am going to be starting a combat prayer group. where we're going to be praying and sending powerful energies towards some of the problems out there on the planet today, where we can get like-minded telepathic fields generated so we can help sway some of the negative energy to positive, and I'm really looking forward to starting some combat prayer groups, some prayer commandos out there. Shout out to Diane, Matteo, everybody out there. Lyra, Killian McGee. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we could do pretty much endless discussions about some of the cosmology out there. Yes, I'm very religious, very spiritual, and very religious. All of those religious symbols are very powerful as well. Even Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, those symbols, those are like very powerful protection and activation, symbolic gestures. And yeah, my hair is getting long really fast. My hair goes like the middle of my back when it's wet, for real. My hair is really, really long. In the back, it's way longer. It's way longer in the back than in the front. My hair got really, really long. See, in the back, it's like to the middle. It's to my shoulders, back here for sure. I haven't cut it in over a year. Yeah, my fingernails and my nails grow fast. I've always had very, very long eyelashes, and my hair and everything grows fast. When I was younger, all the women used to be like, "I want your eyelashes." That would freak me out because I got those angelic eyelashes. See, I got the eyelashes of a fluttering angel. Don't be tricked by the eyelashes. But yeah, no, thank you, Jahar Lee. My daughter has those eyelashes too. Yeah, the swastika was a powerful symbol as well. The Hopis even used the swastika. Vedic. It comes from ancient Vedic, and it basically symbolizes the swirling vortex, right? The spiral galaxy. And maybe we'll do another show later on tonight about the Vedic cosmology. I really appreciate everybody tonight joining in. I'm glad we got a live stream going. And the Vedic view of the worlds is very interesting, right? And I love to get into Vedic cosmology and talk about some of the dwelling places of the gods and some of the different worlds that they talk about in the Vedas, right? And basically how there are 9 Earths. And I do feel that we're at a time now where we can actually let me see here. Yeah, well, Vedas is some of the oldest knowledge we have on the planet, and yeah, so this I have to actually check in. I have to actually click it for everybody's comment to be shown. I have to I don't know why it just doesn't do it automatically. Yeah, I've always felt drawn to even Ayurvedic medicine and things like that. I mean, they have like I think it's seen like there's 9 worlds and each one is broken down threefold, right? And they even, it's interesting because even in the Vedic cosmology, they talk about how, and it seems to line up even with the mud fossil, right? In Vedic cosmology, they even talk about how the mountains were the gods, right? The mountains were also some of the demons that were destroyed by the Vedic gods. That the Vedic gods destroyed these demons, and these demons became the mountains. And and these might even be the mountains of central India. Not the Himalayas. And the Himalayas were also where the Vedic Soma land was, right? So these were looked at as the Himalayas were the Vedic gods, and central India had the demonic ones that were cut down by the gods became the Central India mountains. Okay? And mountains, they also talk about the spinal mountain, right? That mountains also symbolize the spinal mountain, the subtle body, right? Where the yogi work and the purification happens. And this is a spot of yogi meditation. Do I know anything about the Native American circle talismans? The story, let me see where he's talking about. The story of Lilith. Yeah, I've talked about Lilith for years. Sharon. The Rose of Sharon. Hey, Ben Stone. You're in Scotland. Wow. Have you ever been to Callanish? Stone Circle of Callanish? Oh, good looking. Jahara Lee. You guys are making me keep this going more. Shout out to Jahara Lee with a $10 donation. We're keeping this going. Glad to have you, Rob. Oh, thank you so much, Jahara. I will send me your address if you want. I'll send you a present. Rosalind, like the Rosalind Chapel? Yeah, Mothra. Yeah, the Mothra. I used to watch those Godzilla movies. I'll send you a piece of moonstone, Jahara Lee. That seems like it would fit you good. A rainbow moonstone. I'll send you a little piece of that. Wow, see this with this light camera too, you can see all the scars in my eyebrows. At least I can see them here. I got a lot of scar tissue in my eyebrows from kickboxing. All through here. All through here. If I could push on it and it'll start bleeding. That's how bad the scar. If I push hard enough, they'll just bleed. Yeah, the rainbows come from water condensation and the visible light spectrum, like the way light bends around certain things is pretty awesome. It really is. But many Vedic gods are associated with the mountains. Like I was saying, Vishnu, of course, is a god who dwells in the mountain. Shiva is the Himalayan, Mount Kailash. All this is the dwelling place of Shiva. And yeah, there is a new movie coming out of Godzilla. I think it's Godzilla fights King Kong, right? Oh, cool. Rob, what? Got his little piece. Yeah, sometimes the way they come through the windows too with the light. You're saying it was at night too. Yeah, it's weird how sometimes they can show up on the floor of your house out of nowhere, right? Yeah, Mount Kailash is a very interesting place. Uh, it looks like that it could have been a dragon scale at one time. It looks like there was a pyramid complex as well there. And most likely there was some sort of collider there or some sort of ancient technology. I even feel that at the bottom of the lower caves, there's something like that as well. Queenie's dumbfounded by the rainbow. Interesting. Even Indra, the story of Indra. I mean, Indra. They talk about how uh, Indra destroyed the dragon who withheld the seven rivers, and when he destroyed the dragon, he basically released the watery flood along with the rivers and the coiled serpent at the mountain, right? And this is known in the Vedas how Indra slays this dragon. He doesn't just release the waters, but he also releases the light when he does this. And Indra, he cast out the dragon who possessed the magic power, right? That lay over the great river. And they talk about how heaven and earth trembled in great fear. And he slew the serpent that lay at the foot of the mountain as the cows were bellowing and flowing the rivers. How they dumped into the rivers, dumped into the ocean. And when Indra basically slew the firstborn of the serpents, then he also, when he did this, it sort of like simultaneously dissolved the magic power of the magicians. And then he generated the sun, the heaven, and the dawn. And Indra doesn't just bring cataclysms, he also stops them, right? And it talks about in the Vedas how he also made firm the quaking earth, how he quieted the shaking mountains. And with his movement, he made the atmosphere wider. He upheld the heavens, right? And this is all in the Rig Vedas and the Holy Vedas, right? He made, by strength, he made firm the mountains to the east and he made the downward flow of the waters. He upheld the earth, and he gives support to all by his magic powers. He pillared the heavens from shaking. And this is, I mean, they have hymns to this. Chants, mantra, like they're hymns. They're literal hymns that reflect huge earth changes, cataclysms in the Himalaya regions, and most likely at the end of our ice age. Right? And, you know, of course, Indra was the one also who had the magic thunderbolt. Right? It's very similar to Zeus and other titans and different, you know, different mythologies from all around the world. But the myth of Indra is very basically the core of the Rig Veda. It's basically it talks about the ancient seers and the oldest Vedic seer families being connected to this knowledge. And Indra, he destroys the mountain-like cities or fortresses of the demons. And they talk about it. He throws his thunderbolt at them, but sometimes they call this thunderbolt a sun wheel. Very interesting, right? And even Agni of the Vedas. Agni is also someone that brings cataclysms, right? And he also symbolized, he was, you know, the luminous Agni, right? And all these Vedic gods, they can either bring cataclysms or stop them. Why would being alpha be so important right now? Yeah, I would say there's, well, some say we have 5 bodies, you know, some say we have all different types, but I do think there are 9 Earths associated with this reality, 8 others associated with this reality. And some of them are utopian, some of them are diabolical realities. And some of them, you know, like are already on their ascension process. There are also like 9 main parts to our body when it's broken down, right? And then it's even with the Sephiroth in Kabbalah, you have the 9 Sephiroth superimposed on the 10th, right? But I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We're going to maybe do another one later on. This was very fun, and thank you everybody who donated. I really appreciate you guys keeping this channel live. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jahara Lee. Yeah, the Council of 9 I've been talking about for years. I do think it's associated with a whole nother intelligence from another galaxy. Happy St. Patty Days, of course, to everybody out there. Be good to each other and spiral out.